Yes.
I'm in Idaho though.
She's in Idaho now, but she used to
Michelle, can
be.
you record yourself again? Say it again, because the recorder just kicked on. We didn't get your introduction.
Oh, okay. This is Michelle Weinstein, Advanced Director with the Pampered Chef, and this is my
Rose
friend
Slack with
Rose.
Pampered Chef also, and I'm an advanced director.
Rose Slack is also an advanced director. Rose used to work very closely with us. She still does, except she's out in Idaho and we're in New Hampshire. So it's great that we can do this meeting like this. This is the sixth and final series in our 40 Minutes to Fabulous calls. And you've heard all about host coaching, full service checkout. You've heard about bookings. But tonight, Rose and I are going to be doing a little bit of training on not generating interest at your show, but sort of acknowledging interest, the red flags, who to interview and why, and the interview. We're going to actually be simulating an interview for you. So some of the red flags that we kind of want you to be aware of are at your shows. We're going to be talking about the red flags at your shows, obviously. And what do you guys think? And you can chime in. What do you guys think? Who is the most obvious red flag when you are a Pampered Chef consultant? Who's the most obvious red flag that comes to mind?
Yep. Good job, Erica.
Yeah, I like this is like $1,000 pyramid. We can see the answers right there. You're right, Erica. It's the host. And Kathy said that as well. We start talking about the business opportunity before the show to the host. In your host packet, there should be some information about the business. And the reason for that is obviously the host already loves the products. This is why she's hosting a show. So our host is our first and most obvious potential consultant. So that is why we put some information in every single host packet. So during your host coaching, you should be referring to the Join Us brochure or whatever brochure you put in the host packet and asking at every single call. You could say something like, this could be the furthest thing from your mind, but have you ever considered doing what I do? And then when you are coaching her about who to invite, that should include some seeds planted at that time during host coaching. For instance, you could say, have you ever thought about doing what I do? Or, when we get some bookings at your party, I could actually do those shows. Or if you had ever thought about some additional income, I would be offering those bookings back to you because they're your friends, and those would be the good start for your business. Have you ever thought about doing anything like this? Now, this could be the furthest thing from your host's mind at this point, but if you mention it a couple of times during host coaching, by the time you come to do your show, she's already heard about this, and she's already been thinking about it, even if she's been saying no all along. So you want to plant those seeds during host coaching. You also want to refer during your host coaching, when you're referring to the host benefits, you also want to be referring to the kit credit. And I love to teach this at every single training that I do about host benefits. Would you forget to offer the half-price items to your host? No, it's part of her host benefits. Just like we offer her free products, just like we offer her half price and the host bonus, we should be offering her the kit credit, letting her know that she can use her kit credit to defray the cost of her kit should she decide to start her own business. So that's, again, planting some seeds. If she says it's not for her, ask her if she has any friends or relatives that might be looking for some additional income. And say, if this isn't for you, please feel free to share the information in your packet with someone that it might help, that you might know that might be looking for some additional income. When you're talking about who to invite with your host, ask her to invite people that may not have a lot of money. She might say, I was going to invite my friend Karen, but Karen really can't buy anything. Invite Karen anyway is what we should be saying. She can have a fun night out. She doesn't have to buy anything, but you know what? Karen might be looking for what we have to offer. So definitely invite her. She might be glad that you did. So let your host know also that you give referral bonuses. I like to say this at my shows too, that I do give referral bonuses for anybody who refers someone to me. When they join my team and they qualify, I usually give a $20 gift certificate for the person who referred them. So let them know that even if it's not for them, ask them to feel free to refer me to someone else. So that's sort of the before the show thing. Some other red flags are pretty obvious at your show. Guests that ask lots of questions, and I'm not just talking about when you're doing your question and answer or your lightning rounds. The people who you're talking to before the show, guests that come in who you're developing a rapport with, they may say something along the lines of, oh, do you have a pink Cadillac? No, that's another direct sales company. Thank you very much. Or they might say, I noticed your license plate. Do you get to deduct the cost of your vanity plate when you're a Pampered Chef consultant? Or they may say something along the lines of, are all these products yours? Did you get them for free? Or are those products really heavy to carry? Those are red flags. Guests are asking you not to be polite, but they're asking you because they want to know the answer. So they are definitely red flag people that you want to follow up with. And you can say something along the lines of, yes, these are all my products, and yes, I did get them for free. Is this something that might interest you? Ask them right away. So that's before the show. Obviously, the person is asking a lot of questions during your full service checkout, during your lightning round. Those are obvious people. So when they come up to do full service checkout, you can say, you know, you were asking a lot of questions during the lightning round. Were you asking for yourself, or were you asking because you wanted some information for someone you know? And this is not a yes or no question. It's were you asking for yourself, or were you asking for someone you know who might want some information about what we're doing? People who raise their hand a lot during the show and talk about all the products they own. I don't know if Trish Murdoch is on, but I met Trish at a show about a month ago. And she kept raising her hand. I have this, I have that, I have this, I have this. I said, why don't you just do this? She goes, you know what? Why don't I? Okay, and she just qualified as a Pampered Chef consultant. So she was an obvious red flag. Leads from shows, when you're getting outside orders from people, are you calling everybody who placed an outside order and doing a full service checkout with everybody? You should be calling everybody who places an outside order on the party, because you haven't been able to do that full service checkout with them at the show, so you can be doing it, following up with them before you close the party with the host. Listen while you are setting up, or listen afterwards when you hear people say, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I don't even know why I'm here tonight. My day at work was from hell. I can't believe I'm doing, this job. I can't believe that I leave my kids at daycare and I make only a certain amount of money per week. Those are obvious red flags. Those are not people who have asked you any questions, but as you're overhearing this conversation, when they're coming up to place their order, or you're doing your full service checkout with them, you can say, it sounds like you had a really bad day at work. What do you do? And then let the conversation kind of evolve from there. Because I don't know any Pampered Chef consultant who goes to a show or comes home from a show and says, I had a really bad day. Have you guys? I certainly haven't. So, and then obviously the Facebook posts. People are always posting things on their Facebook statuses about how much they hate their job, how tired they are after a long day, how they're looking for some additional income. I know you guys all have a lot of people on Facebook. When you see posts like that, send a private message. Geez, it looks like you need to learn more about what I do. Would you like to meet for coffee? I'm a Pampered Chef consulting. Would you like me to give you a little bit more information about what I do? Or I see you were looking for some holiday income, or you need some additional income for the holidays. Have you ever thought about maybe joining my team or doing what I'm doing? My best friend, who I've never asked to join the business, posted on Facebook that she was looking for some additional income. I've never asked her, and I private messaged her, and she became a consultant, and we were able to get her some additional income. So don't be afraid. Don't prejudge. Don't say she's my best friend. She knows what I do. She can ask me if she needs to. These are all people that we should be offering this opportunity to. All right, Rose. So now that we have all of these people interested, and we may or may not have given them some information either at the show or in their host packet, the Join Us brochure, or whatever information that we have on hand, now we're going to be talking about scheduling we call it an interview, but it's I like to call it a discussion. As Rick likes to say, it's not an interview. They've already got the job. It's more along the lines of, will this meet your needs, and would you like to ask me some more questions about what we do? So Rose is going to be talking about the interview process.
Yeah. And I always just say that it's a way for us to see if it's a fit for you and your family. So no pressure, just kind of learn a little bit more about Pampered Chef so you can make an educated decision. But there's a few ways. After you get these red flags, someone agrees to meet with you. The biggest thing that I do is I know what my next day is. You want to set up a call within 24 to 48 hours max with these people. And I have my calendar, and if I meet them at a show and I have their order form, I'll open up my calendar and I'll say, what's your calendar look like tomorrow? Could you talk, or could you meet tomorrow? Or whatever that time is that I can do it. I write it in my calendar so they see that I write the time that I'll be calling them. I also, on their order form, write that I'll be calling them, and I give them my phone number, and I circle it, and I say, if anything changes, make certain you call me, because I will be at the coffee shop, or I'll be wherever. And then I always do that. And then when I get home that night or the next morning, I always send them a quick note via email, text, whatever. I'm looking forward to meeting you or talking to you later today. If I do it, does that make sense? So you want to always secure that time with them. And when I am doing that, Michelle didn't mention, but before I let them leave, I always say, now when we meet tomorrow, I want you to ask lots of questions, and I want you to ask everyone that's important in your life what questions they may have about the business, because you're going to have people who might, they may have some hesitations, and that's normal. So I want you to just write all those questions down. If your husband's important in the decision making, if your mother is important, if your sister, you always want to do that. And Rick Tarkin, I love that idea. Thank you. He wrote it privately, but you can ask them to even invite their husband or their mother or their sister, because their opinions are going to be pretty much what helps them decide. And if they're not there, they're going to leave that interview and they're going to say something like, oh, I have to go home and check it with my husband, and so you don't want to lose it. So you want to invite them. So how you want to do these interviews, definitely there's the phone versus in person. Being in person by far, I think, is the best way of doing it, because you have you get to see their body language. If someone's sitting, I don't know if you can see me, if someone's sitting there like this, or someone's like, if they're not smiling, or they get this like crease right here on their forehead, it's probably that they're confused, they don't understand what you're saying, or they're hesitant because of something. So you can actually come and pick up if you need to ask a few more questions, and we're going to get into that part of it later. But so the best way is definitely in person. If you can't do it in person, you could do a 3-way call with your director, which I do quite a few of those, and I like those, but I'm really digging this Zoom thing. So I don't know. I just think that it would be kind of fun, because you could like Zoom with someone and their husband and their mother, and everyone could be there, right? And so you can do Zoom or you can do Skype. And the thing with Zoom and Skype, they're both free. I find Skype, you have to have someone download the program onto their computer, and it just takes a little bit longer if they're not familiar with it. With Zoom, it's super easy. You send the person a link, and all it is they click on it. And it's zoom.us that we're using right now, and anyone can set up a user identification and use it. And you get 40 minutes for free, and it's unlimited 40 minutes, and unlimited, I think 25 people can get on. But anyway, you want to have that available. And if you end up using Zoom and the interview goes over 40 minutes, just let them know that, if it is, we'll call back. But for the most part, you could probably get through an interview in a half an hour. Shoot for a half an hour, and then you have about 10 minutes extra. The other way that I haven't really done yet is FaceTime, because every time I try to do FaceTime, I always tend to lose people on FaceTime. I don't have a good connection. So if you're going to use any of the Zoom, Skype, or FaceTime, I think by far the Zoom is probably the best. The other one is you can always bring a recruit lead to a new consultant training. And I know on the East Coast in New Hampshire, they have them the first Tuesday of the month. You can always bring them there. You can always bring them to the meeting, which is I know you guys changed your dates, but you could always bring it to a meeting. But if you meet this person in the middle of the month or the third week of the month, don't wait. These people have the opportunity to make a paycheck and a commission check a whole week or 2 weeks. They could work and make some extra money. So please don't wait. The biggest thing is you just want to call your director and say, I have a recruit lead, help me. All of us know what to do, and we'll definitely help. So you always want to be talking to your recruit lead. Never try and until you get more practice, but I wouldn't recommend just going and doing a recruiting interview until you watch us do it a few times. One of the things I have to say, and I know I'm being recorded, but when I first started interviewing, I had what's called diarrhea of the mouth, and I talked about everything and anything, and I lost so many recruit leads because they're like, oh my gosh, this girl, she just keeps talking and she doesn't shut up, and oh my gosh, there's all that I have to remember. So we're going to do an interview for you, but I think if you can work with your director a little bit, I think that will help. But all of us get that diarrhea of the mouth because we get excited. So, but I think that would be a nicer word to come up with than that word because it's such a visual. Okay. So with that, Michelle, can you think of anything else I missed with the meetings?
Nope, just let your director know, obviously, if you're bringing them to a meeting, because we can have a director sit with them,
Right.
and answer their questions before or after their meeting, give them a little bit of private time.
Yeah, so perfect. So what we wanted to talk about now, because we're going to do a little interview in a couple minutes, and I wanted to ask all of you, and you can chat with me if you want, or you can talk, but what are some hesitations you're hearing out there? When you talk to someone about the business, what are the hesitations you're hearing? And this is where we're going to just be going with whatever you tell us, so hopefully it won't be too confusing for me. Anyone? I have a list of them that I get. I see Kathy moving towards her computer. Are you typing, Kathy? Oh, finding parties. That's a good one. Okay. I can't afford the kit. Okay, I like that. Okay. A kit. Okay, and then any others? Okay, no one I know has money. I hate the computer. Ooh, that's a good one, Rick. Okay, hate the computer.
Not enough time.
Not enough time. Okay. Okay, not enough time. There are too many consultants. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I think we got some stuff, Michelle. You're going to be my interviewee, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going to be.
I can't talk in front of people. I like that one, Betsy.
Oh, yeah, that was me, Betsy.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want me to address these now? No, we're going to do an interview, and then we can address those. Oh, yeah. So what we can do is we'll go over all of these after, but we're going to do the interview right now, and Michelle's going to pick one of these and just kind of blow me away, and I'm going to see if I can think quickly on my feet to answer her. But one of the things I wanted to show you is this is what you want to give to them. At every show, and Michelle, if you have it handy, the little brochure, the Discover Us brochure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yep. So the turn towards me the other way. Yep. Up, up, up. Yep, that's it. So the Discover Us brochure, yes. So the Discover Us brochure is what I put in every single person's host's a packet, as well as the guest packets. And I have those at the very end at checkout also. And I have it out sitting there when they come through the full service checkout. I will say, oh, did you take home your Discover Us brochure? And actually, I loved Michelle's idea about the $20 referral bonus. You could say, if you find someone, please take it and give it to someone. And if they call me, then you can get a referral bonus. So it actually could say something on there, I give a referral. And even if it's themselves, Michelle, I'm guessing if it's themselves that decide to get started, do you give it to them too?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I was just curious because they would be like, well, what if I refer myself? I know
No, I've never given a referral bonus to themselves.
Okay, so that's good. Okay, so don't do that. But anyway, so you have the Discover Us brochure. The other thing that I do is if someone decides that they want to have an interview with me, I give them this, which is the Come Join Us brochure. And the other thing that I have handy at my interview, so I have this at my interview, as well as I always have my 40 guests in 4 minutes in front of me. So the person who said that they don't know enough people, that's going to help. That's going to help you. And so I have those probably 2 documents with me, the Join Us and the 40 guests, and I have my calendar. The other thing, I'm not going to tell you my secret yet. Okay, never mind. Okay, so ready for our interview, Michelle?
Yes.
We have not too much time, so we have to keep it moving. Okay. So, hi, Michelle. I'm so glad that you agreed to meet me today. And I was just, when you were at Betsy's party last night, you were just so excited about that food chopper that I think you sold quite a few of those food choppers. So thank you. But Michelle, I was just curious, why did you decide to meet with me today?
Well, I just kind of wanted to know a little bit more about, what the possibilities are. I just kind of wanted to find out a little bit more. I'm not ready to make a decision or anything, but it was a little bit intriguing to me about some of the things that you were saying.
Oh, nice. What would you say intrigued you the most?
I think I really like the trips that you get to go on.
Yeah.
I go on a vacation for my family.
Yeah, the trips have been pretty amazing, and I would definitely say once you go on a Pampered Chef trip, you'll want to go on more trips and everything. So, but we will definitely talk about that. And one of the things that I find is if you can do a couple shows a week, you could pretty much earn a trip. So that's what's nice about Pampered Chef. It's not working 40 hours a week. It's if you can put 6 to 8 hours in a week, then you pretty much can earn a trip. And we can work on that. And I teach you how to do all that. So have you ever done anything like this before?
No, never.
Never. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So any prior experience with any sales, not direct sales, but anything like that?
I was a cashier at a supermarket.
Oh, good. Okay. So you like people, right?
Yeah, very much. Seriously.
Yeah, so I can say that one of the hardest things is I can teach someone to do anything with Pampered Chef, but the thing I find is if you don't like people, and I can't teach you how to be, I could teach you some customer service, but if you like people, I think that's definitely a plus on your side. So what other experiences have you had that, like some of the things that you have had with Pampered Chef, even like the products?
I've been to a lot of parties.
Okay, so you've seen quite a few consultants, different consultants doing this. Have you ever spoken about the business with another consultant by any chance?
Why do you ask?
Well, we have this thing. It's called a Golden Roll, and what's nice about it is Pampered Chef. We really value our businesses. So if you've spoken to someone else, I'd rather have you worked with that person? If that's something, if they've met with you, if they've given you information about the business and you've had, a discussion with them about the business.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. I didn't know if you meant if I had ever, talked Pampered Chef with anybody else about products and stuff.
Oh,
What you mean is, has another consultant ever asked me about the business opportunity?
yes, absolutely. Yes. Sorry about that. And have they?
You know what? Not really. Not like you and I have been doing, sitting down talking like this. No.
Okay, good. Well, I would love to. So I'm glad because now I can talk to you, and I
Okay.
would have talked to you anyway. But I needed to ask that question because I would hope that someone would do the same for me if that ever happened.
Oh, I think that's really great.
Yeah, no, and that's one thing with Pampered Chef. You're never in this business alone. But the thing is we all kind of watch out for each other, and we want everyone to be successful, which is a good thing. So, so tell me a little bit about some of the clubs or organizations that you belong to, or your children belong to.
My kids are involved in theater,
Okay.
and I go to the gym, and I belong to a church,
Nice.
and yeah, that's about it. That's all I do.
Yeah, no, those are some. So you probably know people then by doing all of that.
Yep, I
So,
do.
yeah, so one of the things that we will go back to maybe some of the people that you know at some of those different places. But one of the things that I'm kind of curious, if you would decide to get started with this business, uh, what do you think your family? How do you think they would feel about you getting started?
Well, I've talked to my husband about it, and he's fine with whatever I decide. I mean, he just wants to make sure that I'm not investing a lot of money and not making any money. He doesn't want me to keep paying out of pocket for things. We could use some additional income, but I don't want to have to spend money to make money. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And one of the things with Pampered Chef, I don't know if you saw in the Come Join Us brochure, there are 2 kits. And the kits that you can choose from, basically this is all that you need to get your business started. And then they have a program at the very beginning that you can actually earn uh, free products or paperwork. So you never really have to invest anything else back into your business. And you I always say to my consultants, before you purchase anything, if you decide to get started, if you say, oh, I really want that pot or whatever, talk to me first because I will explain to you if you wait how you can get it for free. So I always want you to kind of make money, and then you can decide if you need something like that. But with Pampered Chef, they have you set up from the beginning so that you really don't have to spend any money.
Okay.
And then one of the things I wanted to ask you, thinking through some things, what are some concerns or hesitations you have right now with the business?
Well, I'm just kind of wondering, if I'll find enough people that want to have parties with me. So
Okay.
I'm a little concerned about that.
Yeah, and one of the things, do you have a couple minutes? I'd love to kind of go over a way that I work with people because that's something I've moved my business a couple times, so I didn't have friends or know people in a lot of places. So what I would like to do is we have this little cheat sheet that I give to you, and it's 40 guests in 4 minutes. And that's what we use for our hosts to help our hosts find people to invite to their show. But the one thing that I wanted to do is talk to you about how you can actually maybe know some people this way. So as I mentioned some things, why don't you just jot down a few names, the top 3 names that you can think of, and then that will give you some ideas. So could we do that?
Do you want me to do that now or when I go home?
No, I'd like to do it now. But one thing I'm going to tell the group right now, we don't have time to do it right now, but I would walk her through and come up with some of these. So back into the interview. Does that help?
So basically, if you and I were having a conversation as a potential recruiter and recruit, you would have me go through the list of 40, and
Yep.
you would help me come up with some names of people that I might know.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So did that help you by us going through the list?
Yeah, it brought some people to mind that I didn't know off the top, didn't think of off the top of my head. I think the categories are very helpful.
Yeah, and one of the things that I can do is work with you so that we're going to talk and work together. If you decide that this is for you, we can I can help you with words to say too when you're contacting these people. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I just want where 1 means you need more information, and 10 means that you are ready to get started. Where do you find yourself, Michelle?
Well, Rose, I'm not quite sure because I really don't know what the income potential is right now.
That's another interest that you're looking at. So thank you. So let's go to the brochure, and if you go to the back page of the brochure, I don't even know where it is. Okay, it's there's no page numbers, but this page. Okay. So how Pampered Chef works is you make 20 to 25%. So on average, a new consultant makes about $100 per show. So if you could make any amount of money that you're thinking that would be ideal for you and your family, what would that be?
Well, we just got a new car, and we now have a car payment which we didn't have before. So I would like to make enough to cover that car payment, which is about $500 a month.
Okay, so you will probably want to shoot to hold about 5 to 6 shows in the month.
Week? Oh, okay.
Oh, a month. In the month, yep. So that's probably 1 to 2 shows a week. Is that something that you think that you could probably do?
If I could get enough people, yeah, I think I could do that.
Yeah, and so you get to choose your days, and then you'll be making that money, and then you might even make some extra shows. I usually have I personally, as well as my consultants, will book an extra show a month, just in case you have some life situations that people have to change the show or change the date because of the weather and different things. We live in New England, or I live in Idaho now, so there is snow, so we have to just prepare for it. Some people who live in Florida don't have to worry about that, but us up here, we do have to worry about it. So did that help with the questions about the money?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so
an idea of what I'm going to be making per show, which was important to me.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't even mention that. I got excited about helping you find people to have a show with that I didn't even talk about it. But you have quite a few people on your list. So are there any other concerns or hesitations that you have?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm going to have to go home and talk to my husband more about this.
And what do you think some of the concerns your husband may be having?
Well, I'm going to go tell him that, what the income potential is. And like you said, I don't have to keep investing a lot of money back into the business, which I think is going to be important for him to know. And I just kind of want to go home and think about it.
Okay. Well, one of the things, if it's okay, could I tell you? Okay, so could I tell you how you would get started if that's something that you decide to do? So then you know.
Yeah, I know. I would like to know how to get started if that's in fact what I decide to do.
Yeah, and then and we can definitely talk with the husband.
So how would this all work if I decided to do this, Rose?
Thank you, Michelle. Now, the one thing that this is much easier in person now, isn't it? One of the things that I was going to say is if you decide to get started, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Basically, you pick your kit size. You either one will make you successful. You decide which one you want. And then the other thing, looking at your calendar, could you have a live cooking show? And what you do is you pick a date within the next 2 weeks. And then looking at your calendar, I always have you cross off the days that you work and you can't do a Pampered Chef show, the days that are your family days, important dates in that month, and look at it for the next 6 weeks. The other days are the days you could do your shows. So you have your other days open and available now that you know what days you want to work, and you determine the day.
So basically you're saying I design my own schedule based on my family commitments.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is totally your schedule. You get to choose what day you want to do your show and everything. And then, for the first 6 weeks, I recommend, booking. What I find is if consultants start out with 2 shows a week for at least the first 6 weeks of their business, they learn the business faster, and then they can decide how many shows they want to work.
Mm-hmm.
So if you made an extra couple $100 a month in your first month of business, would that be a okay thing?
Well, I was kind of hoping for 500.
Oh, just that? Just 500?
That car payment.
What was that?
That car payment is what I really need to cover.
Oh, yeah, you'll definitely, no, but I mean, you'd be making an extra $200 in addition to the 500. So
Oh,
700. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. No. If you did 2 shows a week in the first month of your business, you would be actually probably making 2 car payments in your first month if you wanted to.
Okay. I would like to do that.
Okay. Yeah. But that's basically it. And what I would do is I would work with you in the next day, actually every day for the next 3 days to go through and help you set up those shows.
Okay.
Did I lose you?
I see you.
Okay. You keep freezing. Sorry.
So did you. So did you, and it was not.
Okay. Okay. So are we losing time here? Are we done?
We have another 5 minutes or so.
Oh, okay. So because it's only 40 minutes, Michelle.
I know that. So I gave myself another 7. I gave us another 5 minutes. We're the boss, so let's go.
Okay. I just wanted. Okay. So anyway, that's basically it. I usually, that was a fast interview. I usually need more time than that. Sorry.
I know. I understand.
Okay. So, but basically the biggest thing is, I'm out of the interview thing. So the biggest thing is asking what their interest is, asking what their hesitations are. I usually look at the sunshine, go back to why they want to get started, and then from there, tell them how easy it is to get started. And then the biggest thing with her and her husband going home and saying she has to talk to her husband, set a follow-up time that you will call her tomorrow to talk to her and have her and invite her once again to have her husband on the phone. Because if you don't set up that time, you will never get back to her. She'll go home and her husband will say something like, oh, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to call your friends? Or whatever the reason he might say. And if she doesn't have a follow-up call with you, she probably won't make it. Because
slip between the cracks.
Yeah. She'll let it go. So the biggest thing is always set up, you stay in control of the conversation. You always set up the next time you're going to talk.
And you don't want to leave it open-ended. Open-ended is, okay, get back to me when you're ready. So
never.
You don't leave it open-ended. What Rose and I were doing was we were actually, we are experienced interviewees, recruiters, obviously, but for those of you who are brand new and kind of wondering how we come up with these questions, it's right here. It's called The Guide to the Join Us Recruiting Booklet. And if you are giving them the recruiting booklet, they have the booklet and you're going through those things, but they have pages of questions to ask the person that you're interviewing that follow along in the Join Us booklet. So you don't have to come up with these questions by yourself. They're online and they're found on Consultants Corner Guide to Selling and Recruiting, and then it's called the Guide to the Join Us brochure. So Cambridge puts out the brochures and then they give you a guide to follow. So it's not, you're not going to an interview and saying, what am I supposed to ask again? The questions are right there with you. And be prepared for the hesitations, because there will be hesitations. It's very rare that you'll have a consultant that just kind of comes up to you and says, I've decided I want to do this, without having some kind of a question and answer, getting to know you like Rose and I did, or not having some hesitations. Because I don't know about Rose, but I had a week's worth of hesitations before I decided to join. And that's exactly what I kept saying to Karen. And I got to talk to my husband. Although, quite frankly, my husband was pretty okay with it. I was just stalling because I was nervous. But those are the kind of things that you're going to be hearing. If you guys have a few more minutes, we don't mind. Some of the hesitations that you've heard, you might want us to help you come up with a solution for some of the hesitations that you were giving Rose. If you want to stay on the line, is it okay, Rose? Because I can stay on the line.
I'm cool.
Okay.
And can I add one more thing? When you use this this brochure that Michelle just mentioned, listen to what they say, because I don't know, Michelle said something and she's like, oh, about the pay. And I was trying to streamline exactly what I could talk about in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But if they're worried about the pay part, don't worry about going through every page of this brochure. Just go straight to the page. That's where it's the how much they make. And that's what I did with Michelle. So I listened to her concern and I went to that, or listened to her question. So you don't have to go page by page, because they might not care about the trips. They may not care about the history of Pampered Chef, because they just want to know the money and the training maybe. Mm-hmm. So just focus on those two things of the brochure.
Okay.
So if you guys want to leave, you're more than welcome to leave. If you want to stay, we'll go over some of the hesitations, and I wrote some down. So I was going to open up. There's a lot of chat, but I
unmuted everybody so everybody can talk. So now you'll get the questions on the screen.
Okay. So the one, did we lose everyone? Did we lose Michelle?
No, they're all here.
Okay. Do you want me to just grab one of them? Like, I can't talk in front of people. Do you want me to do that? Or Michelle, do you want to do that?
Well, that would be a good one for me to do, because that was my big hesitation.
Okay.
When I was thinking about doing this, I thought the products were intriguing. I thought the whole idea behind a party was intriguing, but I was absolutely terrified about talking in front of people. And this is one of the hesitations that I hear a lot. So what I generally say is, I understand. I felt that way too. But what I found was that people were not looking at me. They were looking at what I was doing. And that made me relax a little bit. The other thing that we do for you is we teach you how to have the guests be involved in the party. So it's not like you're a speaker at a podium where all eyes are on you. This is fun, this is interactive, but it's not just the consultant. We have the guests interact with us so that it's not like a speaking engagement. It's just like a bunch of people hanging around in a kitchen cooking together. So does that make you feel better? And usually they will say yes.
So I'll take the one, not enough time. Can I take that one? So one of the things I totally understand, the time was a big concern of mine when I got started. I don't know if you remember me saying I had a 15-month-old at home, and I was 7 months second. So I was a little bit not sure of time for me. But one of the things, if I can ask you, how much time do you think it takes to do this business a week? And how much time would you be willing to give us a week? And if they say, the common answer for someone who doesn't have time is usually, probably 5 to 10 hours. That's the most I could do a week. Well, hello, that's awesome, and I let them tell me. And if someone says 5 hours, or I could only probably do 5 hours a week, that's one show a week. So before I tell them how much time it takes, I always say, I'm just curious, how much time could you give a week? And then that way I get the conversation going from there. And then I'll say, usually when you get started, when you're first getting started, it's about 2 hours to 3 hours out of the house, and maybe an hour before and after the show. So anywhere from 4 to 5 hours to do and talk to your host and host coaching. But now with the whole Pampered Chef online stuff and the ability to put things on through the website and through your iPad, the time actually is going to be less time working with your hosts and doing that. So I always say, Pampered Chef is helping us streamline that time. So did that answer that question, whoever asked it? Okay, Michelle, which one did you want?
What's the next one?
I can't afford the kit. Do you want to do that?
Oh, actually, you know what? I just had a consultant who had that very concern. And I suggested lots of different things, from bringing some of her children's unwanted toys and clothing to a consignment shop and trading them in because they don't use them anymore, and keeping the money for that. In the summer, I would suggest yard sales. But you know what I suggested to her that really worked? I suggested to her that she post on Facebook that she's considering becoming a Pampered Chef consultant, and then I said to post this question. Can anybody suggest some ways for me to earn the money for my kit?
Oh, nice.
And she got lots of responses such as, come babysit my children and I'll pay you. She got responses such as, would you like to walk my dog and I'll pay you? These were people who were helping her come up with ideas to raise the money for her kit, and they were offering sort of jobs that she could do. In the end, you know what happened? She had an aunt send her the check for the kit as an early birthday present.
Wow.
So that was the greatest thing to me. She was so thrilled. But maybe you have a potential consultant who's not on Facebook. So you can have them, if it's getting toward the holidays, oh, don't get me anything for Christmas, but if you'd like to, I'm trying to start my own Pampered Chef business, and maybe an early Christmas present would be to help me, raise money for my kit. I tell them to spread the word. Trade in their kids' old toys, trade in their kids' old clothes, post it on Facebook. Either somebody will come up with a creative idea, or in this person's case, somebody would just send her the check.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay, I like that. And then too many consultants. I like that one. When I got started, I was worried, living in Bedford, and Mel, you live in Bedford. I was worried, maybe it's a little saturated in Bedford, my brain was just, oh my gosh, I'm going to do every single show possible in the town of Bedford, New Hampshire, and no one's going to want it. Well, Bedford, New Hampshire, for example, has, at the time I lived there, 20,000 people. Households of 4 people that's 5,000 potential business people. A full-time consultant doing 2 shows a week is, I don't know, what is it, 100 shows, 112 shows a year. You don't even hit that. And the biggest thing is there's so many towns surrounding it that there's so many people out there that we have potential business to have, that you just have to get in it. Where I live here in Idaho, there's not a lot of people in Idaho. And my calendar is 8 to 10 shows a month because everyone is inviting. So, bye, Kath. But anyway, so I think that the biggest thing is just let them know that there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people who do multiple shows. It's not just one show to get everything. Sometimes they to get everything on their wish list, it's probably 5, 6, 7, 8 shows, and then Pampered Chef always comes out with more every 6 months. So there's definitely a lot of business out there. So did that help?
I will say this, if I'll put something in here. I ask people, I have probably 6 consultants within 2 miles of me. We've never crossed paths. And this is in Manchester. Yeah. Only you. You're the only one that's ever crossed my path. My neighbor over here, she's mine now. But anyways, but you're the only person I've ever crossed a path with, and you're in Bedford. So we never.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So any other, I think, finding business. That's what Michelle and I kind of went over, the list of 40 guests in 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. Oh, hate computers. Rick, you wrote that one.
Yeah. We have to get creative with the hate the computer part and get them to experiment, try it. And because of the new web, they don't have to have a computer. They can go anywhere, any person, their next door neighbor, the library. There's all these places where they can actually do the computer side of the business if they don't have a computer. Because sometimes that's really their objection. It's not that they hate computers. They don't have one or they can't afford one. And in today's world, you can get a computer that'll do all this work for less than $300. You can even get something on eBay for $50, and it'll be fine to take care of this until you make enough to buy yourself a computer that you've earned. So that's the other side of it. Usually it's because they can't afford a computer or they don't have one. So there's creative ways to always. There's a creative way to get around that. Or I will do the work for them. You and I will talk on the phone. I'll plug the orders in until you get enough money to buy a computer. So there's always a way around that.
Nice. Okay, perfect. Anyone else have any other hesitations? I think we got them all.
Mhm. Okay, this pretty much wraps it up unless anybody has any questions that they want to ask. Do you all feel a little bit better now about recognizing the red flags, about who might be a potential consultant, about who to ask, how to set up a meeting? I just want to stress, Rose and I and Rick also, we've been doing this a long time. So we can handle interviews on our own, but you may be brand new and still feeling that this is a little bit much for you or that you're not really confident in that. We are glad to set up a three-way interview with you and your recruit lead. So don't feel that you absolutely have to do this on your own. If you're still brand new, we would be glad to have you come on any kind of interview or even do a three-way call with you and your recruit lead. Don't feel that you have to do this on your own. We've done lots of interviews and we've hired lots of consultants. So we would be glad to show you what we do.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
guys.
thank you all for staying on a little bit longer. I hope this was helpful for you.
Great job, ladies. Great job.
Bye, Rose.
Bye, everyone.
All right,